mentioned you're kind of a peer relationship as this chief product officer with, a technical officer, right?
Mm-hmm.
How does that play out across your teams though? Because having that courageous innovation is altruistically great, but it's very difficult. The rest of the culture has to support that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not just something that happens just purely on the product team going out and having, customer conversations or potential customer conversations. How does that play out when sales is saying, well, we're trying to get dollars in the door, and we're trying to sell a thing, and we've committed to X, Y, and Z, or maybe customer service is saying, hey, we're getting this feedback that they want these 15 features. How does that all play in concert with itself that you look at your peers and you say, we are aligned on how we serve?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that starts at the top of the company. It has nothing to do with product management in isolation. So for some of your viewers or listeners, I'm sure are going to be familiar with the Patrick Lencioni books. The five dysfunctions of a team is my favorite. I haven't read them all, by the way. Full disclosure, I think I've read maybe two or three of his books, but
that's probably one of his best, and the way the storytelling in that book is incredible.
Yeah. Well, it's as soon as I read that book the first time, it completely reframed what I thought about what a good culture was, because I had been part of a business for 15 years, quite a long tenure really in today's world, up until about a year before that time, and it was pretty good business, good people. I'd say as cultures go, pretty good. And I thought to myself, yeah, that was as good as it gets, because I'd seen bad and that was good, and so having only one
juxtaposed, everything looks great. Yeah,
I was like, this place is nirvana, right? And I read the book and it reframed it, and I'm like, whoa, actually that business was good as compared to everything I had experienced before, but it actually was pretty dysfunctional.
Interesting.
And then the business that I'm in today, which again, March will make 10 years for me, so just next month, it is substantially better than the business that I had thought was good. A great place to work, and it was. But the place that I'm in now, culturally at the top, this idea that there can't be any daylight between the executive management of the company is really taken very seriously. And as a result, the questions you're asking, like, well, what about what customer success wants? And what about what sales wants? And what about what marketing says? What tech thinks the priorities are based on changing technology? Those things are much easier for us to drive in alignment, because the people at the top of the company view everybody else's problem as their problem. If somebody else has got a problem, you don't complain about it. You ask yourself how to help. And if you're not doing that, then you're not doing your job. So I think it kind of starts there. And because that's how the company culture works, we're much more likely to be able to address diverging needs by function. And we also have a product roadmap process that I believe helps quite a lot, because everybody participates in it at some level. Like when we're making strategic roadmap reviews, which we do with some frequency, we have representations from, I would say, not every function in the company, but most functions in the company. Certainly if they're customer facing, go to market, they're involved. If they're involved in building things, they're involved. And so nobody's ever surprised by the roadmap. Nobody ever misses an opportunity to have contributed thought into the choices that we're making. Nobody is lacking for a chance to say, I think that assumption is too aggressive, or not aggressive enough, or whatever the case might be. And as a result, you've kind of weighed in everybody's functional demands and desires on the front end. So that helps quite a bit. I guess both of those things. The culture is definitely the most important thing, because without that, you could have all the roadmap meetings you want. It wouldn't matter. But
people are going to do whatever they want to do because they don't believe that the culture has its best intent in place.
That's right. But with the cultural substrate there, and the process of how we run our roadmaps and kind of tie them to outcomes, both long-term and near-term, that I think creates both trust and a good future and accountability for present results at the same time. And yes, that is a struggle. That is a trade-off. Like
Sure.
if you think about product management time, we think about it in kind of red, yellow, green sort of contact. So red is customer support, customer service, customer success, problem. Customer
Right.
customer has problem, backup, need backup. Okay, here comes a
Yeah.
product manager.
Solve
Right.
problem. Keep customer happy. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Yellow would be, involvement in a current transaction.
Yeah.
Sale, renewal, whatever the case may be. It's not bad. It's just not necessarily the highest best use of a product manager's time. If you're doing too much of that, then maybe product market fit isn't exactly what it should be, right?
Yeah.
Or,
And
or
it should force you to ask some other questions. Yeah.
yeah, there's some other stuff going wrong, right? Or maybe you're thin on sales coverage. That can happen too,
Yeah.
right?
Sure. Right.
The green is the good stuff. That's there. There's no transaction in the meeting. We're not actually talking about anything we have for sale.
Yeah.
Unless
Yeah.
you dig it out of us, like that customer might do that, but the purpose of the meeting is not related to any incipient transaction. It's about understanding the customer's problems and their view of the future better and getting alignment with them. That's the really good stuff. And then you're not going to do all of that, but if you're spending too much time in red and yellow and not enough time in green, that's not a good future indicator.
Just had a conversation with a company yesterday, and this language of kind of the red, yellow, green would be really helpful for them, because you could almost clearly describe that 99% of their time is in the red, right? They're just putting out fires. And that makes it really difficult to then be able to say, well, where can we provide opportunity of value to solving people's problems in the future? And what I think they're afraid of, and rightfully so maybe, is we're very quickly going to become irrelevant because all we've been doing is putting out fires and not actually moving forward.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it sounds like that's something you're intentionally tuning towards.
I'm sorry. We're intentionally
It
tuning
sounds
towards.
like that's something your team is intentionally tuning to look for. Hey, let's be careful. Don't get too stuck in that, that the downward spiral of firefighting, because it's elusive. I mean, or it's attractive, I guess, because it feels like you're accomplishing something.
I would say it a little differently. It would be
Please.
it would be like if you got too much red going on, solve that problem.
Oh, okay.
Right,
Okay.
right. Like in other words, the customer's needs are always most important,
I
right?
see. Okay, great. Great.
So
That's good clarification.
figure out how to make that go away, not figure out how not to spend time there, right? Like,
Good. Yeah. So actually address it.
yeah, that's right. It's like it could be that there's a signal to noise ratio problem, and some sort of customer facing function is not handling things that it's supposed to handle. That's pretty unlikely in a well run organization. It's possible, but it's unlikely. And I think very highly of our customer facing folks. So when you've got something like that bubbling up, take it seriously and run it to ground and fix it. Don't treat it as this thing that is an annoying waste of your time that you really wish people would just get over. Like
That's good.
probably not the best choice. But rather than lipsticking the pig, fix the
Yeah.
problem, right?
Yeah. That's really good.
So that you can do higher value things, because if you don't, if you're not satisfying the customer with what they're already buying from you today, why are they going to buy anything else from you tomorrow, right?
Right.
That,
Right.
that you don't have permission for that conversation. So
You've lost the trust.
yeah, so
Yeah. No, that's really good.
fix the root of the red problems, take care of that,
Yep.
just decisively, so that you can spend time doing things that are higher value add.
Great. I assume though that requires, because what you were talking about requires a culture that also is good at giving and receiving feedback, because you mentioned several times it's like, hey, you can bring it to the table. Where are your concerns? Where are their risks? Where are their opportunities here? Like, it feels like that also is a culture that invites others to the table, that it's not just about disseminating information.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're talking about customer contact in this example, or
Well, it could
internal
be
too?
customer contact, or even the way that you interact as a team in house, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if the teams So for example, I know there are organizations where whether it's founder led or, key executive led, that it can be just like, hey, here's the marching orders, go do, don't ask questions, right? Take the tickets, go complete the tickets, come back when you're done.
Sure.
But, and then, hey, sales team, go sell the thing we built, marketing team, go promote the thing, and instead going, hey, no, we want that input. We want that feedback from our peers, from the team. We want to be able to have a culture that understands the why behind what we're doing. It sounds to me like that's something that is natural for you all, but not natural for everyone.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think it's natural at all in default corporate organization. Like if you just say, here's an org chart, start putting people on it, and then add some financial goals, and is an emergent property of that hierarchy harmonious interaction across functions? No. Like that's
not, we don't err towards harmony, do we?
yeah, that's not the norm, and I think that's why most companies' cultures are less than they could be. Like you have to actually have direction, vulnerability, trust from the top that says this is how it's going to be. It's what I said a few minutes ago about the Lencioni parable, which is if another function is having a problem, you don't get to treat it as though it's just their problem. Like that's not how it works. Like and it might mean that you have to apply discretionary effort temporarily in a way that you wouldn't normally. But that's what it means to be on a team. Just think about it. Like you've got a sports team. A lot of I've never played sports, but I've watched some.
I wasn't a huge sports guy either. That's great.
Yeah. I basically watched Yellow Jackets football, and that's about it. But
I love it.
But if a quarterback's making a pass, there's two humans on either end of the ball, and they both have to help each other make a completion. That's not and if you got a receiver that's got an attitude that says that guy never puts it on my numbers, and why do you think our pass yardage is low? Well, it's like that's not how it works. Like
it's a team.
Yeah, everybody stretches, everybody helps, sort of thing. If you don't start there in terms of what it means for everybody to contribute, and they treat problems as though they have these hard functional lines, and say, if those guys would just do a better job of what they do, then we'd be fine. If that's a significant threat in your culture, no amount of process is going to fix that.
The us versus them mentality is there's no place for it.
Nope. You cannot process your way out of a culture problem.